to our origin of We the People. Tackling current issues, both political and legal, with common sense. As We the People, we must bring common sense back to make our lives better. Only on Now Media TV.
Good evening and welcome to We the People, where we bring you truth with clarity, principle with conviction, and perspective grounded in common sense. I am Alina Gonzalez Dockery. Tonight we're diving into what may be the most defining political shift of our time, the internal collapse of the Democratic Party as it fractures under the weight of extremism, identity politics, and moral confusion. We'll look at the chaos that erupted after President Trump's bold and widely supported strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, and we'll expose how the party's inability to unite on even basic foreign policy has revealed a much deeper problem. They don't know who they are anymore. So let's get to it. So tonight we begin with the fundamental question. Who is the Democratic Party now? Because in the wake of President Trump's recent military strikes on Iran's nuclear sites, strikes that many national security experts, American allies, and even moderate Democrats have quietly admitted were both necessary and effective. I mean, think about it. It's a country that constantly is chanting death to America. What we're seeing isn't just political disagreement. It's a party on the edge of ideological implosion. So let me break this down. 2 weeks ago, Iran was on the brink of operationalizing its nuclear weapons program. U.S. and Israeli intelligence confirmed it. And after a direct threat was made against Tel Aviv, with Iran promising retaliation beyond Gaza. And remember, Iran is the head of the snake of terrorism. President Trump responded. 3 key Iranian nuclear facilities were taken out in precision strikes. No civilian casualties, no boots on the ground, no drawn-out war, and in fact, an immediate ceasefire. What did we get? Iran's nuclear program delayed by years. Israel deterred an immediate attack. The region entered into a U.S. brokered ceasefire 3 days later, one that even Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Jordan publicly endorsed. And Trump, a rare diplomatic victory that aligned national interest, military restraint, and global stability. You would think that was a win for everyone, because even the vast majority of U.S. population was in support of what occurred. But not for the modern Democratic Party, not for the extremism, not for the woke extreme left. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or better known as AOC, once the progressive fringe, now arguably its North Star, didn't just disagree. She called it disastrous. She accused the president of violating the Constitution. She said it was grounds for impeachment, even though Congress has allowed and relinquished this supposed power that they only control to presidents for decades. Obama, Bill Clinton, W, and potentially what Biden could have done if he knew what he was going, whether he had the gall to do it or whether he knew it was going to happen. So let me ask you, what president are we allowed to have? Because we are seeing an extremism take over, and it is socialist. And you know what is so ironically hilarious is that of all people, AOC, she does not have any accomplishments as a congressional woman in Congress. She has not passed one bill. She has not done anything but to saber rattle and always say what is horrible, and this because of why. So she can get more followers on social media, she can get more clicks and make more money based on that, because going into Congress, she didn't have any money. Now she's a millionaire. If defending American interests, halting a nuclear threat, supporting our allies, and helping create peace through strength now qualifies as an impeachable offense, then we're not debating foreign policy anymore. We're debating whether America is allowed to lead at all or exist. because AOC and her squad and the like of this extremism have such a hate towards capitalist America or democratic America. Would it seem reasonable that maybe they want us to completely fail? Here's what's really happening. The Iran strikes have exposed a deep civil war within the Democratic Party, a war between pro-Israel traditional Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi, which is laughable to say that she is actually a traditional Democrat, considering she was on the fringe of progressive. But it was really, this is now becoming Sanders' party, who, while critical of Trump, stopped short of condemning the action. And a radical progressive wing led by AOC, the squad, and their activist base, always tearing down America. Oh, and praising Hamas, praising the terrorist organizations, and actually saying that Iran is a victim. The squad, AOC, see American military strength as imperialism and any alliance with Israel as complicity. And the average American, they're not buying it. Once again, AOC finds herself ensconced in like the most 20% or less of the polling, where 80% are in favor. AOC, who has less than 1% success in Congress, which means basically she hasn't done squat for the basic good, is always on the contrary to what the American people want or desire or believe or support, or hell, let's just be safe. They are the ones promoting this domestic terrorism because these young kids are so susceptible to this propaganda that they're now attacking. We're seeing it more and more. So according to a recent Quinnipiac poll, 67% of Americans supported the limited strikes, and it was limited, including a majority of independent voters and even 42% of registered Democrats. Support from NATO countries like France and the UK followed within 48 hours. Even Egypt, a longtime broker in Arab-Israeli affairs, called Trump's ceasefire effort a critical act of regional stabilization. So let's talk about the Constitution, because that's what AOC was trying to say, and it was such a failed attempt, again, only to garner more clicks, more attention, all for the wrong reason. Progressives like to throw around phrases like unauthorized war and violating Article 1. But Senator Tim Kaine, a Democrat, yes, Democrat, introduced a resolution that acknowledged these strikes were defensive in nature and did not violate war powers. Why? Because Iran had already declared intent and capability for a direct strike on an ally. That's not war. That's deterrence. It's lawful, it's proportionate, and yes, extremely effective. So if it wasn't unlawful, if it helped create peace, if it weakened a nuclear threat by an extremist Islamist state that sole purpose is death to America, why are the progressives so angry? Because they're not just anti-Trump, they're anti-America as leaders. We've reached a place where one wing of a major party celebrates our enemies' grievances louder than our allies' victories. They rush to criticize Israel. They hesitate to condemn Hamas. Hell, they're pro-Hamas. They're quick to cry imperialism. They cry for Iran as a victim? I mean, seriously, are you kidding me? And they say absolutely nothing when we saw the atrocities of October 7th. The killing and murdering of young innocent children, the raping and the brutality against women, but yet they're all about women's rights. No, they're not. But when it's time for our safety, when it's really a concern, they go silent. I don't say this lightly, but when I watch the Democratic Party today, I see a movement less concerned with truth and more concerned with performing outrage for more clicks, for more followers, and more money. That's why their response to Iran strikes wasn't unified. It was scattered, confused, contradictory, because deep down, they're not sure who they are anymore. Are they the party of Pelosi or the party of protest? The party of JFK or the party of TikTok revolutionaries? Because right now they're trying to be both and failing at both. And in fact, the Democratic Party is shrinking. And nowhere is this ideological schizophrenia more visible than in New York City, where a former governor just lost to a socialist endorsed by AOC. It's not just the national party fracturing, it's the cities, the states, and the leadership pipeline for 2028 and beyond. Coming up next, we dive into Zoran Mamdani's victory for the Democratic mayoral primary of New York City. What it signals about the hard left grip on urban politics, and why Chris Cuomo, no right-winger by any stretch, says his party's on the verge of self-destruction. I'm Alina Gonzalez Dockery. This is We the People. Stay with us after this.